first thing, and this is because I want to talk about lockdown tonight as well. Lockdown is happening on Thursday in England. We're going back into lockdown. Please don't fret about it. Don't lose your shit about it. I'm going to take you through 5 things that I learned from the first lockdown that I think is going to make the second lockdown easier tonight. But this first clip ties into this as well, because our industry is not closing down. Thankfully, the TV and film industry is continuing. I completely understand and empathise, and my heart goes out to people who work primarily in theatre. Theatre is being dealt another blow, just as it looked like it was getting back on its feet. We also need to remember this is just 30 days as well. So let's put it into perspective. Let's look at it for what it is, not more than what it is. This is what a lot of people do in life. They look at things in their life for either more or less than what they are. We're not looking at this for more than what it is. It's 30 days right now. We're not looking for it for less than what it is either. Okay, we appreciate there's going to be some struggle, but we're prepared for it this time. We're ready for it. But let's not blow it out of proportion and think it's the end of the world. Theatre, we're with you. We will. You're going to get back on your feet. It's inevitable, isn't it? We have to. What's the alternative? Never produce theatre again. So we've got to look positively. But during lockdown, TV and film is still happening, okay? So it's your duty as an actor who works in TV and film to still hustle and put yourself out there. And it was interesting. Amy was asked a question by a member of actsonthis.tv about, how she brings people in at Amy Hubbard Casting. So this is Amy Raine Jackson, Amy Hubbard's casting associate. And she was asked, look, how do you guys bring people in? And Amy goes through her little process of the 3 things, and they might sound obvious, that she looks at in order to bring an actor in for audition, okay? And these are 3 things that you can get in order during lockdown in the next 30 days to keep yourself productive. You can review these things, particularly because you will know Spotlight had a revamp today that didn't go particularly well. I think it looks better, but the loading times are terrible. So Spotlight, I'm sure you already know because you've been told 100 times today on Twitter, you've got to sort those loading times out if your platform's going to be successful, and if casting directors and agents don't want to throw their laptops through the window. But you can, as an actor, make sure over these next 30 days that your Spotlight profile is sorted out, and Amy talks about that in this clip. So here's 2 minutes of this mastermind session. You'll find out how they work by watching this as well, and if you want to get involved in these in the future, actsonthis.tv/save.
How do you bring people in? Is it usually through their agent, or is it headshot, or what makes somebody sort of go, yeah, I'll give them a go at a self-tape or an audition?
It's annoyingly a variety of things. For me, my kind of first port of call, obviously when I don't know when someone's told you this, but we see your kind of thumbnail headshot first of all, and your agent details or direct details, whatever. So that's what we get. We just get loads of little thumbnail headshots. So that's the first thing. So headshots are important in terms of me. I mean, headshots are important if you're right for that role. It's really hard because you're trying to portray who you are in that headshot, and it needs to be kind of the you and some roles that you think that you could play, that you can play, or we think you can play. So that will be the initial thing. Then I'll kind of have a look at your credits just to see whether you've kind of had much kind of experience, what your experience has been, and then always for me is showreel. So showreel is like I'll watch kind of everyone's showreel who I don't know, to kind of teach me about them. And then that kind of gives me enough to kind of understand you and to kind of think whether you're right for that role or whether you're not for this one, and things like that. So that's kind of my process. Then sometimes you might have to delve deeper into skills or into languages or where you're located or other kind of things. But first of all, it's usually kind of see a headshot, yeah, you could play this role, definitely go on in, have a little look at your CV, what you've been up to, and then kind of show reel. So that's kind of my strategy, I think.
So that's Amy Raine Jackson, casting associate to Amy Hubbard. That's her strategy for bringing actors in. It sounds almost too simple that a lot of actors will just be like, yeah, okay, I already do that. I have my headshot on Spotlight, I have my credits on Spotlight, and I have a show reel. But when you're looking to be brought in by people of that level for the biggest projects in the world, how can you use this next 30 days during lockdown or whatever it is? How many days actually is lockdown? It's from the 5th, isn't it, till the 2nd. Is that exactly 30 days or is that less than that? I think I saw Brendan say 28. Someone let me know exactly on a calendar like how many days that is. But ultimately, roughly 4 weeks in it. Can you use these 4 weeks to get those 3 things sorted? Is the headshot you have on your spotlight right now the best headshot that you have? Maybe from your last photographer, you got 4 headshots, you chose one, of the 4 that he gave you, and that's the one on your spotlight. Is it working for you? Has it been working for you since you put it up? Do you have another one in the pile of those 3 that are decent headshots that you could swap it out for and just test over the next 4 weeks to see if that one is going to, have a bigger impact on getting you brought in? Because Amy goes into much more depth in the full chat there. But obviously, casting notes is the first thing they see from you is a load of tiny little headshots on a contact sheet. Everyone who's been submitted for that job. Is your headshot, when it's printed out as well in black and white, this is something that I see in a lot of casting offices as well. They'll print out the contact sheets and they'll print them out in black and white. If your headshot, and I don't know if mine's a little bit like this right now, is very dark, what's it going to look like in black and white? And how is that going to stand out? If you're a girl, how is your hair framing your face? Is, that like taking over? There's all kind of things when a headshot is small. It's very different when it's big and it's a 10x8, like back in the olden days when we printed out big pictures. But when it's very small on a contact sheet, is it doing you justice? That's the first thing. Then Amy goes on to talk about credits, right? I've seen a lot of Spotlight CVs that actors send me where credits are not organized into tabs. So they're all on a list, they're all mixed up, there's no dates, and it goes like commercial, bit of theatre, commercial, bit of theatre, bit of TV, voiceover. If you've got a fair number of credits, make sure that they are put into the sections. You can have headers on Spotlight where you can organise your credits really easily. They might have even, I've not checked it out, but maybe they've even added some like more organisation with this latest revamp. And then the last thing Amy talks about there, obviously showreel. We've been over showreels a million times. If you're a member of actonthis.tv and you haven't been and watched from a couple of weeks ago, this Showreel Surgery Live with Chris Stone. We critiqued 8 members of Acts on This's showreels in real depth, and we go over the real kind of like almost formula, to be honest, for a really decent showreel. 8 steps that if you follow, your showreel will pop. Again, if you're a member of actonthis.tv, you can watch the full, I think it might have been like nearly 3 hours, that one, or something like that. It was a long time anyway, the main the main thing. I'm going to see actually how long that was because Chris can talk. It says 2 hours there, but I'm sure it wasn't. I need to change that. It was much longer than that. I bet it was nearly 3. Oh, it wasn't that bad. 2 hours and 25, actually. So we rounded it down to 2 hours, but nearly 2.5 hours there of showreel stuff from Chris, who, in my opinion, is the best showreel producer in the country. Again, go and check that out over lockdown if you want. It's a great excuse if you're furloughed again to just consume some content that's going to, help you hit that next level. So that's the first clip that I wanted to play out from Amy. Ultimately, just a little bit of a process. And again, taking it back to basics, but basics are the things that we keep needing to go back to in order to, make sure our foundation is rock solid that we're building our careers on. So that was the first clip. The second clip, this was the first time I'd heard this, and was an education all around self-tapes. Again, the next 30 days, can you get your stuff together so that you can nail your self-tapes? Your self-tape setup is good. This self-tape that I submitted today, I'll tell you what, I overthought it big time. I'll be the first to hold my hands up. It was like 7 lines. It's a really big, great show, but it's about 7 lines, and I spent 3 hours on it. I'm like, normally I do 7 lines in 20 minutes, but the smaller jobs are so often the hardest ones because you don't want to do too much so that you're trying to steal the show, because that's nonsense. You're going to fit into the show. If you're generally having 1 or 2 scenes, you're a procedural role that's moving the story along. It's not about you. But equally, you don't want to just be so forgettable that like someone whips that job from underneath you very easily. So it's so hard to get that nuance right of like what is enough but what isn't too much. I well overthought it. My tip of the day for if you ever get into that situation is if you do not have to submit that tape that day, edit together whatever you think are the 3 best takes. That's what I did. And then go and sleep on it. Don't choose one of them there and then. When I came back to those 3 takes the next day, it was so patently obvious which was the best take. Yet the night before, I couldn't work it out. They all looked exactly the same to me. Or like, I liked something about one, but not this bit. And I liked that bit about that one, but not that bit. And I couldn't get a perfect take. And then when I watched them back, I was like, no, that's the one, clearly. So I don't know if I get the job. Fingers crossed, I'll let you know. But don't overthink your self-tapes. But we're going to look at this little clip now about self-tapes. And this might make you overthink them. But this is really important. It was the first time I'd heard this from Amy, because Amy Hubbard obviously works with some of the biggest streaming services, Apple Plus, Netflix, Amazon, as do lots of other casting directors in the industry. But this is the first time I heard this particular piece of advice. Check it out, because it might be new to you too.
How much do you put emphasis on the production value of a self-tape?
The thing is, we're sharing it sometimes now directly with our team and our directors, depending on what that project is. For example, you know, Apple TV is so specific about kind of just having very good production values and seeing what you look like on set and kind of the best kind of quality. They're kind of very much used to those kind of American values of production and kind of making everything look good. They just want to see what you look like in their world and on that screen, and the closest you can kind of just do justice, like get rid of all the technical issues, and just so we can focus on your acting, because that's going to be the most important thing. Yes, it is important, because it allows us to share it. Right now, we're not allowed to meet actors, and so we would usually, in usual situation, just get you into the room and kind of bring you into the room and just tape you, and we've got you nicely on tape. We can't do that at the moment, so I just think it is a good investment to kind of get good lighting and to get good kind of setup. And at the moment, I'm seeing such good value in everyone's self-tapes and everyone's kind of lighting and setup and technique and everything that I haven't really come across it at the moment, but it's great because it just allows us to share it and directly. So I guess it gives you more of a chance to kind of share it, and that's what you want.
Well, it's interesting, Amy. It's the first time I've heard that, and it's a really good point. You saying, in terms of, you know, so streaming services, for example, Netflix and Apple are going to be so used to seeing more international tapes, and the Americans have got this nailed. You know, and we're, you know, it's beginning to, well, it's, you know, it's not just beginning, actually, it's become very much a staple thing in our industry as well. But it was way more of a thing in the States before it was here. So I guess, yeah, everyone's got to level up, you know, and if you're going for an Apple project, you better make sure your self-tape stands up. Boom. Are your self-tapes good enough for Apple TV? In an interesting point, though, the more we are working over here in this country with, you know, the biggest providers in the world, you know, Netflix, Amazon, Hulu, you know, all the huge streaming services, which have infinitely deep pockets and obviously work a lot with people in the States. The States have always been a little bit ahead of us when it comes to self-taping. You know, it's become more and more of a thing over the last decade in the UK, and now it's an absolute pivotal, like, you know, absolutely critical piece of the infrastructure of casting right now. But I just thought it was really interesting that Amy chose to say, the higher the quality of your production, the more confident they are in sharing it with the big boys ultimately. So if your setup is not what you would want it to be right now, which does not mean go out and spend thousands of pounds on kit, you don't need to. If you go to actonthis.tv/self-tape, I've created a list of my own self-tape kit that I use. I can vouch for it. I can tell you it's 100%, you know, it's great stuff. It's great quality stuff. And that's it. That involves lighting, backdrops, and microphone. That does not break the bank. It does not cost the world. In total, probably, what would it be? I don't know, about 150 quid, something like that, for a backdrop, lighting, and a really decent lapel mic that will just give you crystal clear audio from Rode, a company called Rode, the Rode SmartLav Plus. Obviously, the higher the quality, the production of your self-tapes, the more chance that these casting directors have, well, the more desire they have to share them with the execs, you know, with the people at these channels. So make sure over the next, some people have said 27 days till the 2nd of December, you know, over this next lockdown, if you're in England, utilize the time to go, right, you know what, I'm going to practice my self-tapes. Maybe I'm going to do a little self-tape challenge. I'm going to shoot one a day. I'm going to get better at production. I'm going to get faster at editing. You know, get the turnaround time quicker. So if you get a self-tape at the last minute, you know, you can jump on it and have it in no time. there's always things, you can be doing to up your game. But I thought that was a really interesting point as well, that I've not heard before in terms of, sharing self-tapes, with streaming services and stuff, and the reasons behind why a casting director maybe wouldn't want to. And obviously production value is a big part of that. So they're just 2 clips from this main 2-hour chat with Amy. Like I say, once again, actonthis.tv/save until midnight tonight to get your membership and lock it in at the current prices. Prices will be going up. Membership for the monthly membership will double in price tomorrow. Well, at midnight, actually, tonight. You guys who've already got a membership, don't worry. Don't do anything with your membership. You will never pay any more than you do now. Once you've locked in a price on actonthis.tv, you never pay more. The price will never go up for you. I will look after you. You are safe. But obviously, from time to time, prices do increase in stuff. And there's an opportunity to get in at the current rate without being affected and lock it in for life. So for the next part of tonight, I'll read some comments out in a second, and then the next part of tonight, I'm going to do a little presentation that I put together before because I knew Lockdown 2 is going to be, I know it's going to be frightening a few people. It's obviously going to raise anxiety amongst people. Actors will be fretting, and I get it if you work in theatre, etc., etc. However, don't forget and don't lose sight of the fact we've been here before, right? This time, surely, cannot be as scary as the first time, right? We've been here before. We know how it rolls. We know there's no need to run out and get toilet roll, okay? There's no need to get 700 bags of pasta from the shop, right? And there are things that I got wrong in Lockdown 1 that affected both my physical and mental health that I know I can save myself from in Lockdown 2. It's not going to be as bad. It can't. Practically, it cannot be because we have learnt, from the first lockdown. If you look at the first lockdown as happening for us, what did it do for us, not to us? It taught us resilience. It taught us, all kinds of things. And it also taught us a lot of things that, like me, maybe you did wrong first time. And you're like, actually, you know what? This time, I'm going in more prepared. I'm going in with my eyes open, and I'm going to make it a success, okay? Because it's like, what's the alternative? What is the alternative? The alternative is to, allow it to cause you failure in whatever area of your life, and it's, we're not having that. We're not having that. I'm not standing for that on my watch. So I'm gonna go through 5 lessons that I learned from the first lockdown in a second that'll hopefully. You might take something from it. Some of them are acting related, some of them are nothing to do with acting, and it's just what I discovered, but hopefully you can share your lessons as well. I'm just going to have a look. Tony Ross is in the house from the States as well. All right, Tony, hope you are good. He says, don't worry, we're stressed over here too for all sorts of reasons. Yeah. Exactly, man. We've not got an election going on, for a president. Amanda says, Ross, just curious, how long do you usually give your headshot and reel edit to see if it's working before making it a change? I would normally, depends how proactive you are, Amanda, and how often you are sending it out to casting directors. What I would do is I like to make edits of my reel, or I like to make separate little reels out of scenes that are more applicable to the casting directors that I'm sending them. So if I was looking for a day player role when I was first starting out in my career, I made a big career out of playing policeman. Just that's all I ever played, really. If I was looking for day player roles as policeman, I would edit a separate reel together, and I've done this, you can see it on my spotlight, of police scenes, and then I would send those out to the casting directors that are most likely to cast police scenes, and they are the serial drama people, basically, the casualties, the Holbys, some high-end drama, a bit like, Line of Duty and that sort of stuff, so maybe I'd target Daniel Edwards, Kate Rose-James, but the majority of those police scenes would have been done in serial drama, so I would go, right, I'm going to send these scenes out to them, so not even like my full reel, it'll be on Spotlight, but I'll send something bespoke to those casting directors that I think is going to be the most useful thing for them, because I don't know, but I would presume that's more useful in terms of going, here's something that you're probably going to be casting this month. Here's me playing that thing. Do you want to use me, basically, as a new face that you've not had as a copper before? As opposed to going, here's a reel of everything. Here's the kitchen sink. You watch it. You figure me out. You do all the work. So I like to get specific. And what I would do is I would send that out to half a dozen casting directors, and I would see what I got back. And if I got nothing back whatsoever, I might change it literally straight away. And for the next 6, I wouldn't send to those 6 again. I would leave that for like 12 weeks. Then I would send to the next 6 casting directors something a little bit different. But I always try and make it as bespoke as I can, because I just think that shows a lot of effort. It shows that you understand yourself, you've got self-awareness, you give a shit, and you understand the things that those casting directors cast. I think in any walk of life, I wouldn't try, if, say, for instance, I don't know, I'm trying to think of a good analogy here. I just wouldn't, if I was, I don't know, a plumber, and I don't know, I knew someone was always after bathrooms, I wouldn't send them videos of all of my kitchens. I'd send them, sounds ridiculous, doesn't it? But like pictures of all the bathrooms that I'd done. And if there was someone who I knew was after kitchens, I wouldn't send them the bathrooms, I'd send them the kitchens. I know it's a crazy kind of analogy, but I think a lot of actors just want to throw everything at a casting director and just go, do you want to buy my shit? Without actually understanding what it is that they're in the market for. So if you can present the product to them, they're more likely to buy that. So I would say I would send your stuff to 6 people, see if you get any replies, give it 2 weeks, see if you get any replies. If not, send something else next time, and then if after, I don't know, 3 rounds of that, nothing's popped at all, maybe then it's a matter of, rejigging stuff completely. But when you really know yourself as an actor and who you are and where you fit, you should be able to target casting directors and have the thing that's most applicable first up on your reel. And you should be able to target the ones that you know are most likely wanting to buy that thing. It's a game. It's a business. And it's what a lot of actors don't look at it as a business. They look at it as like, I'm creative, so I'm going to send something completely incongruent with what I actually want. I'm after my first role on TV, so I'm going to send you a scene of me as a witch. I'm going to send it to Coronation Street. Brilliant. Not really going to work, is it? So make sure it's applicable what you're sending. And Cheryl says lockdown's 27 days. Interesting. 2nd of December it finishes, doesn't it? Right, I'm going to bring up the... I'm so sorry for missing these comments. I'm going to bring up these slides now, and we're going to just share our experiences of lockdown 1. There you go. You can still see me on your screen, can't you? These are just 5 things that I learned. How to get through lockdown 2 without losing your shit. And I just, I am determined that this industry doesn't self-implode this time. I've seen so much negativity. Since those Fatima pictures came out about retraining, it was all fake news. It was all blown out of massive proportion. There was another 8 pictures in that Fatima campaign that were nothing to do with the arts. Rishi Sunak did not tell actors and musicians to retrain. ITV deleted that headline, retracted it, and changed it for the weakest headline on earth that said, Rishi Sunak says people from all walks of life have to adapt for employment. That's a bit of a different headline. So Rishi Sunak says musicians and actors should retrain, because he never said that. And I'm not sticking up for Rishi. I've got no affiliation with him at all. But this industry is notorious for making negativity louder. And I'm going to do my best to not contribute to that during this lockdown, because I've seen it happen too many times before. And I want all of us lot at least to research stuff before we retweet it. So if you see something negative, don't get angry. Don't start retweeting it before you learn if it's true or not, okay? So let's get some slides up. Remember the 5th of November. So I've put here, for those on the audio experience, I've got a slide and it says, so no big bonfires, toffee apples and fireworks with your mates this year, folks. On Thursday, the 5th of November 2020, England is going back into lockdown, baby. But will we get through it, right? And let me know in the chat. Answer me in the chat. Will we get through it? Will we come out stronger? Because we're going to look at this as happening for us and not to us. Is this an opportunity for us all to contribute to mankind and humanity forever? Will, your great-grandchildren look back on us as we look back on World War II and World War I veterans who had to do a far, far harder job than just stay at home and go, you know what? Cheers, Chris. Cheers, Tom. Thanks, Sam, for that sacrifice you made in 2020 where you didn't really go out very much, because that's all you've been asked to do. We can contribute now to humanity forevermore, right? This is an opportunity to actually do something good. Can we still make 2020 count in our acting career? Hell yes, right? Act on This will make sure of it. I will do my best to make sure of that. And also, like I say, it's certainly not forgetting our friends in theatre. Heart goes out to them. I will help anybody where I can in terms of if they are struggling and they work in theatre and maybe they want to transition into TV or they just need some help with something, whatever that is. But in TV, this is called Act on This, the TV Actors Network. Our industry is continuing. So, of course, we can use the next 2 months to our advantage, okay? And to be honest, you've got, really, if you create your own content, you've got a bit of a captive audience again for the next 30 days. So if you want to actually do something good and, get it out there, more people are likely to see it. So here are 5 things that I learned from lockdown 1 that will make lockdown 2 far more successful for me and for you. Okay, and these are just my things, but I'd love to know your lessons as well. Some of these are, like I say, to do with like acting. Some are completely nothing to do with acting at all. But these are things that I know I can do this time that I got wrong first time. Let's go. Number 1. It sounds so simple, doesn't it? Get up early, right? Monday to Friday are working days, okay? And just to explain, right, during the first lockdown, I noticed, and let me know if you notice this as well, I noticed myself, and it happened very gradually. Little by little, I started staying up later and later. And part of that was to do with work and act on this. But other parts of it was to do with the fact that I knew I didn't have to get up early in the morning, for any particular reason, because the country had basically shut down, okay? And my morning routine, after a few weeks, absolutely fell apart. Like, my morning routine is normally so solid. I get up at 6:30, I get dressed, I brush my teeth, I get my gym stuff together, I walk, it's only about a mile to the gym, I work out, I leave, I walk back, I go to Costa Coffee on the way back, and then I bring a coffee up to my apartment, I get a shower, I have my breakfast, get a shower, and I'm so energized, because, getting out of bed is horrible, it's awful, particularly at the moment when, it's dark. Winter's always a difficult time. But once I'm up after the first 5 minutes, it's not that bad. Our morning routine is normally it just sets me up for a day of success. In the last lockdown, it all fell apart. So let me know if yours did as well, because that made me feel better, like I wasn't completely on my own. I started getting up later, not massively later, but there's a big difference getting up at 10:30 than there is at 6:30. I started feeling guilty for getting up later, so I started beating myself up psychologically that I was just a waster and I wasn't doing anything. I was wasting time, and this caused far greater anxiety and pressure for the rest of the day, because I constantly felt like I was playing catch up. I didn't feel like I was on top of things like I normally would be. So I now know, and I can recognize this in myself if it started to happen, and I can make sure this doesn't happen now, that in lockdown 2, I will be setting my alarm for the same time as usual, right? And I will, as hard as it will be, I'll be getting up at the usual time, between 6:30 and 6:45, basically. And that means that I will also have to be disciplined about when I go to bed. But I am determined to not screw up my morning routine now, because it screwed up the rest of the day for me, in terms of how, much pressure I felt. I still got an awful lot done, and you'll see that in a second. But I got it done through almost total burnout by the end of lockdown. I was absolutely exhausted, by the end of it. So that's sort of the first lesson. I know going into this lockdown that I am not falling into that trap again, because I've done it before and it wasn't very, very good. I've got my alarm clock. My 2 nieces, says Tom. Nice one, Tom. They will make sure you get up. Wendy says, I just started getting up early and going for a walk first thing again. Yes, this is so important. And this is what I'm going to... Wendy, you've read my mind. Honestly, I cannot tell you the difference. Well, I can, because you'll know. Let us know in the chat, Wendy, what difference that getting up early and going for a walk first thing has made to the rest of your day since you started doing that. Because it goes into lesson number 2 that I learned, which is this one here. Gyms closing is no excuse not to exercise. Okay, and this feeds back into sort of point 1 really with my morning routine. Because my gym had closed, and the gym is such a big part of my life, I work out Monday to Friday. I don't often like working out, but I always love having worked out. I always feel great when I'm in the shower in the morning, having done a workout. I know when I get out of bed and feel like shit, that my future self at 9 o'clock will be so grateful to me that I was disciplined enough to get out of bed and go and do it. But I noticed my exercise regime starting to slack after just the first week of lockdown 1. And part of that was because I was scared, to be honest, to go out, because I was sort of seeing everybody as zombies and disease, and oh my God, stay away from people, you're gonna die. We didn't know a lot about COVID, did we? But even after the first week, I started with great intentions. I did run most days in week 1, but they weren't nice runs. I was very anxious around people. I didn't like being out amongst people. I didn't like seeing people sort of also not taking any rules seriously or social distancing, because I guess people weren't used to it then. And then I noticed that as time went on, rather than saying, Ross, you're not working out because you're just a lazy sod, I was using the gyms being closed as an excuse to go, Ross, don't worry, mate, you can't work out because the gyms are closed. No, bullshit. I've got a bench in there. I've got weights in there. I've got resistance bands. I've got a yoga mat. I wasn't working out because I was not disciplined enough to, basically. I was letting myself off. I was being lazy. And a part of it feeds into going to bed late because my morning routine was screwed up. I was feeling like shit in the morning. It all feeds in. That's why point number 1 this time is so important. Nothing changes Monday to Friday. My alarm is staying the same. I'm getting up. And in lockdown 2, I put there, Wendy, I'm with you. If we lived in the same area, I'd come for a walk with you, socially distanced, of course. In lockdown 2, I will be starting every weekday. I'll let myself off on Saturdays and Sundays, but every weekday with at least a 45-minute walk in nature where I can. So I've got quite a few parks near me, which is really nice. We know from like positive psychology that if you can walk in nature for just 20 minutes, it's actually 18 minutes if you want to get really specific. The positive mental like health impacts of that are literally measurable on an MRI scan. Like you will feel happier. You will have more endorphins running through your body, more feel-good chemicals, running through your body. You will feel more motivated. You will have more dopamine, more epinephrine, a lot of these chemicals that make you feel good. You will have less cortisol in your body, particularly first thing in the morning. Cortisol is a stress hormone that you will wake up with in your body. You will create it during sleep. It's why when you wake a baby, its instinct is to cry. It's not because it's learned to cry when you wake up. It feels pretty awful being woken up, and that's because cortisol is higher. You have higher levels of cortisol in your body upon waking. So if you go and exercise, it reduces cortisol, it raises those feel-good hormones, and serotonin. You will just feel better. So Wendy, you've probably been experiencing that. So that's what I commit to doing this lockdown that I didn't do first lockdown. Lucas says he loves lockdown. It went so fast. This lockdown will go quick, Lucas, as well. Definitely. And John's just been swimming. He's just done 19 lengths. John, just a legend, mate. Joe said he couldn't walk after doing Joe Wicks. And it's meant to be for kids. Piggy with Joe Wicks. But yeah, Joe's probably going to be getting back on it, innit? Definitely, he was good. But yeah, exercise first thing in the morning. I'm not slacking on that now. And that will go hand in hand with not staying up late and not getting up late, basically. So that's lesson 2 for me. And you might go, what's this got to do with acting? God, you can be so much more productive in and out of your acting career and just feel happier and more motivated when you're putting the foundations in place. And that comes on to work now. Point 3, TV and film, right? TV and film is not closing, as I've just mentioned, right? So this time, we've all got to commit to continuing the hustle, okay? I understand there was that whole sort of thing in the zeitgeist of, listen, this is the first time you've been in lockdown. Don't put pressure on yourself to create if you don't feel like it. Don't work. You don't have to do anything. Just relax and get over what's going on. And I get that because it was so new to us. You needed to do what you needed to do to survive, basically. And if that meant just basically lying on the couch and just, sleeping through lockdown, that's fine. This time, however, again, we've been there. We've done it. I think it would be a tragedy not to pull yourself together to a certain extent. And again, it's hard. I'm not saying like, right, that's it. Bury all your feelings, bury your anxiety. If you're feeling a bit depressed, ignore it. Definitely don't do that. Address it where you need to. But if you can, go into this next lockdown with momentum, continue to work, and I think it'll fly by. It'll go a lot quicker. So thankfully for us actors who work in TV and film, life does go on, okay? TV and film projects will continue to be cast, as they're doing right now. Sets will still operate in a COVID-secure manner. Fingers crossed, that's what's happening right now. So you can still book work, right? Get excited about the opportunity to book work. Make the volume of that excitement louder than the fear of, oh God, we're going into another 30 days of lockdown, where I might not see loads of people. And you've got this community here. You're going to see people every day if you want to. Come and get involved with that on this community. So in lockdown 2, is my lesson. I will not stop my outreach to casting directors. Okay? Now, I didn't stop it last time, but I wasn't reaching out for castings because there was no castings going on. I obviously was bringing casting directors on to do mastermind sessions with us and acts on this, but I wasn't working really on my own career at all through the last lockdown. So I will be doing this time. I will continue to, put myself out there, send my reel out, get in touch, network with people in this industry, casting directors, directors, writers, producers, right? And I advise everyone on here to just put 1 hour aside every day in lockdown to just reach out to industry professionals too. Make conversations. I think so much success is built on the number of conversations you can have in life across the board. Nothing to do with acting. The more conversations you can have with people in your life, the more success and opportunities will show up in your life because of those conversations. It's inevitable. And you can get so much done in an hour. Even if it's just 2 emails, you spend 30 minutes on each one. Across 30 days, that's 60 potential opportunities for your career. It's massive. It's huge. Whereas if you think most people send 3 emails a month, they're getting 36 opportunities a year. You can double those opportunities in 30 days just by spending 1 hour a day on your career. Like the compound effect of that is absolutely massive. So I will continue that because I didn't do that last time. So I will continue that this time. And again, I think it all feeds into making lockdown just go faster as well. Like Lucas says, he says the last one went fast. I thought the last one felt long, Lucas, man. Definitely. This one can go by really quick though, I reckon. Point number 4, equally, and this is something I didn't do last time as well, take some time out to just live a little. This is something that I definitely did not do in the last lockdown. And that's because although it's like I put on this slide, although our entire industry was shut down in lockdown 1, right, I was still working 16-hour days. Even though I was getting up late, I was staying up very, very late to pivot actsonthis.tv into a 100% online business. Until that point, I was still doing in-person stuff with actsonthis.tv. I was recording podcasts with casting directors in person. I was bringing people round to literally my kitchen. Remember when we would film the podcast in the kitchen? And I suddenly, literally on the 23rd of March, I was like, oh my God, Acts on This is basically going to be destroyed if I do not take this entire thing online. So to do that, it basically took me 16 weeks of pretty much 16 hours a day. And by the time those 16 weeks were over, I swear to God, I've never felt burnout like it in my life. It was like absolute autopilot, Groundhog Day every day, getting up, getting on the computer, and then going to bed at like 2, 3, 4 in the morning, and then getting up the next day and doing it all again. Because I was doing 2 live broadcasts a week then. We do 1 now. Now it's got a little less crazy, but 2 to begin with. So in lockdown 2, and let me know what you're going to do, I am just going to take more time out to just be. Like literally, just like actually acknowledge what's going on, feel it, process it. And whether that's watching new shows on Netflix, which I love to think is research for the acting industry, watch some new stuff on Amazon. It's all research in it, It's not like wasted. Or I'm going to just spend more time. This is something that I'm just not good at because I'm a bit of a workaholic. I'm not good at just spending time with my friends and my family on the phone, on FaceTime. I speak to my mum every day. But, even after sort of 15 minutes, I'll start feeling a bit antsy, like, right, I've got to go, I've got all this stuff to do. I'm just going to just not judge myself on that. And I'm just going to go, you know what, if you want an hour chat with your mate and you just talk about nonsense, then just spend some time, like, just being and just living a little bit. Because I didn't do that in the first lockdown at all. It was all work, and it had to be, really. Otherwise, I don't think I'd be sat here now, even doing this broadcast, because I don't think Acts on This would exist. If I hadn't have done that, there was a very scary 2 weeks at the start of lockdown where suddenly every actor in the community started panicking and cancelling their membership to the site, and I thought, shit, it's over. 10 years work is done. Thankfully, it wasn't. You guys have been amazing, and so many people have joined the community this week. It's bigger than it's ever been. But it was a lot of work. So in this lockdown, I'm definitely going to spend some time to myself. And then the last point that I want to raise, and this is a sort of a call out to all you guys, and I've already mentioned it a few times on Twitter this week, and I've mentioned it already tonight. But I feel we all have a duty to do this time, because I just know that the alternative is just going to hurt the industry far more than the situation we're currently in. And for those who are listening, it's make positivity louder. And like I say, I've seen a lot of negativity and a lot of headline reading being done in our industry. People getting angry without researching if the headline is actually true or fake news, retweeting it, swearing, creating this massive echo chamber of negativity on Twitter. And everyone's been guilty of it. It's not just actors, it's been casting directors, it's been directors, it's been producers. Everyone's just human, okay? So it's not one particular group. Everyone's been guilty of it. I, in the past, have been guilty of it, and that's taught me a lesson. So this time I wasn't. You read something that someone reports as something the government has said. Do you know what I've realized this week? God, I despise Sky News. Like, I don't normally watch the news at all, but all news outlets do this. So I've seen them take headlines and tiny, tiny little snippets of sound bites of interviews with politicians and spin them way out of proportion. There was an interview on the news yesterday with Michael Gove. I think Kay Burley on Sky News was like, listen, is the lockdown definitely going to finish on the 2nd of December? He said, yeah. So then she started going, oh, right, so it can't go on longer than that then? Are you saying that it can't be extended? Is that it then? And she got him to say, no, of course we could extend it. Because of course they could. If we get to the 2nd of December and millions of people are dying, then we're going to extend it. But she forced that out of him, and then the headline they ran pissed me off so much because they ran with a headline that basically made it out that Gove had said, we're definitely going to extend this, and it's not going to finish on the 2nd of December. And it was all... The journalists, they masquerade as these people, oh, we're getting to the truth. You're not. You're lying. So many of you are lying. How can you go to bed at night knowing that it's your job to just stir fear into the nation? And they're all guilty of it. They're all guilty of it. Everyone on Sky News, Kay Burley, Sophie Ridge, all these people who are supposed to be, we're going to hold these politicians accountable. What you do is you get answers out of them that you want, and then it's someone's job within your organisation to write a headline that is going to drill fear into this nation, into the entire population. And there will be people, and this is why I get really angry about this, there will be people who have taken their own lives during lockdown or during this pandemic because they have read one too many headlines telling them how there is no hope in their life. And these people need to be held accountable for that because it's bullshit. So it's our job as actors, in our industry at least, to make at least our news within our industry and the positivity and the opportunity within it louder. Don't be one of those dickheads who's not reading stuff properly and then hitting the retweet button and contributing to somebody else's mental breakdown. Right? It's not cool at all. And this is what I'm seeing, and it's because of the mainstream media are doing it. It's not your fault, really, if you're even doing it. You're just being brainwashed by all this bullshit. And I'm not one for conspiracy theories. I never buy into this at all. But I have just realised how negative the news is, and it's because that negativity sells, keeps you glued to the screen, and they can then sell their adverts for more money because more people are watching. So don't buy into that. Lockdown 1 was completely uncharted territory. None of us knew what it hit us, I've put here on this slide, or what the future held. Remember, we've been here before, though, and rather than buying into this fear this time, in Lockdown 2, I personally will pledge to be making it my top priority to make positivity louder, and I'd urge you to do the same too. It's our duty as human beings, not just actors, to spread love and not fear, because it's just way, way better for everybody. Don't contribute to that echo chamber of bullshit. It's really wound me up this week because I'm like, you're lying again. And they masquerade as these good people. Oh, no, I'm just getting to the bottom of this and I'm holding this government accountable. No, you're not. You're getting a little soundbite you want out of someone so you can spin it into something so dreadful. People look at it and it instantly fills them with dread. Get a real job. That's what I'd say to those journalists. For now, this is the last slide on here. Remember, I've put 30 days, but it's not even that, is it? It's like 27, someone said before, 28. This too shall pass. Please have that in your head, right? You will have been through worse than this in your life before. And right now, if you or a loved one is not on a ventilator, you have won. I mean, that surely has got to be the goal again. And we will get through this and we'll make the best of Christmas that we can. And we'll make the best of the new year that we can. And hopefully this time next year, we'll be looking back on a broadcast like this going, wow, that was interesting, wasn't it? But look at all of this incredible stuff that's happened because of it. You know, there will be a lot of good that comes out of this as well. I got a bit salty there. I get really angry at stuff like that, though, where I'm just like, I can't stand people just hurting people like the media can and the news can. It's mental. It really, really gets my goat. So there are my 5 lessons, basically. Things that I am going to be committing to during lockdown. For those people who are just joining, I don't know if anyone is, but actually I will... Hang on. Oh, see that? I was pressing loads of buttons. I will just do a little recap very, very quickly on the 5 points. So 1, I'm going to be getting up early. I'm going to remember in Monday to Friday are working days. None of this staying up late, getting up late. 2, gym's closing is no excuse not to exercise. I know it's critical for my own mental health, my physical health. I know for me it's the foundation of everything that I do. So I will be working out, even if it's just a 45-minute walk every single morning, Monday to Friday. TV and film is not closing. We've all got to continue the hustle. There are opportunities out there. We can book work still during lockdown. Our industry, thank God, touch wood, is not going to be as affected like the theatre world is. Hearts go out to them. Equally, I'm going to be taking time out to live a little. I'm not going to just burn myself out like last time. 16-hour days are not good. And I don't need to this time. Acts on This has pivoted now. We know what we're doing. It's all good. And 5, I'm going to be making positivity louder, and I want you guys to help me with that because I think we all should make that a priority. So I'd love to know your lessons. Do tweet me at Acts on This TV, at Ross A. Grant. What are you guys going to be doing? How are you going to be making positivity louder? And you know what? You can make positivity louder by just retweeting nice things, even if it's just, I don't know, a picture of a dog. I don't know. Drinking tea through a straw. Because there's some positivity making positivity louder. I'm getting my teeth fixed up on Wednesday because I punched myself in the face 2 weeks ago and knocked 3 teeth out. It was an accident. I was making my bed. Don't ask. I'll explain another time. But that's going to be positive. Let me know what you're going to be doing. And this Thursday night, okay, if you are not a member of actonthis.tv yet, remember, get yourself over to actonthis.tv/save right now, because you have not got long to lock in membership pricing. The current membership pricing is going to double for monthly membership at midnight tonight. If you're already a member, don't worry, you won't be paying more. But if you go over to actonthis.tv/save, here's a little video of me explaining what's going on. You've currently got, as I record this live, 2 hours and 3 minutes and 45 seconds, 44, 43, 42. Don't let this pass you up. Even if you just get a monthly membership, try it out for a month. Come and join the community. One thing that's going to get you through lockdown, without a doubt, is community. It's being supported by incredibly positive, inspiring, motivated people. We've got an absolute ton of them in the Acts on This community. You're going to be learning weekly from the biggest casting directors, agents, actors, writers, producers in the game. People like these guys you see on your screen, the biggest names, BAFTA winners, Oscar winners, the biggest casting directors, the biggest actors, comedians, agents here. Just awesome people, week in, week out. Do come and get involved because I don't want you to kick yourself tomorrow. And there is a deadline. I don't like to sound like a dickhead, but please don't email me after midnight and go, don't email me tomorrow morning and go, Ross, I missed it. I've been telling people about this for a week at least. I've been sending multiple emails out about it. There's a deadline, and when there is a deadline, there has to be a deadline, just because it's just an integrity thing as well. If I ever put a deadline out, if basically I said, after midnight, say you email me tomorrow at 12 midday and go, Ross, can I get in at yesterday's prices because I missed it? If I go, yeah, no problem, then you're never going to believe I'm a man of my word. Anything I say, you're going to be like, he doesn't really mean what he says. And that's it really. Like, I can't let anybody in past midnight because I've set that as a boundary. So actonthis.tv/save if you want to get in. And if you don't get in, because you, just through I don't know, unless the website blew up or something, I can't let you in past for this price past tomorrow, just so that I am legit. I'm not one of these people like, I'll just because it's not about money. Anyone who's just after your money will be like, I'll just let you in because I want some cash. It's It's not. I'm growing the community. I'm looking for commitment from people. I'm looking for the best, most committed actors to join the community. My commitment to you as well is that I'm going to be bringing you like even bigger and bigger and bigger guests, literally globally. We've got the biggest people on from the UK industry. In 2021, we're taking it like, I'm going to be bringing you the biggest people in the world, like genuinely. And that, just to be completely like dead honest with you, it just costs money. You know, if I want people who are A-list guests, like they just don't do this for nothing. So I need to expand the community, grow it. We need to charge a little bit more. But in exchange, you guys are going to be getting even bigger and better guests every single week. So I'm super excited about it. This Thursday, we have got a mastermind with Ruth Carney, a fantastic director who I've wanted on for ages. I met her filming an episode of Doctors a while ago. She is a director of Casualty, Holby City. She's currently directing Emmerdale right now. And I recorded a little trailer I'm going to end on tonight. I'm going to play you that in a second. The week after, we've got Mandip Gill, who is the Doctor Who's assistant, is Jodie Whittaker's assistant on Doctor Who. The week after that, I'm not going to tell you, but we're going to be playing a premiere of somebody's film out live on the member-only mastermind session and doing a Q&A. It's only a short film. I think it's like 15 minutes. And then we're going to be doing a Q&A with the director and the writer and the star of the show. So that's going to be very different. It's the first time we're going to premiere a film. You will know the guy who directed it. You'll definitely know him. He's a bit of a household name. And he's been on actonthis.tv once before, but a long time ago. So that's going to be next week. I won't tell you that we've got so much, honestly. We've got so much coming up. In December, we're going to do something very, very Christmassy. If you are a fan of... I don't know if I should tell you. I'm not going to tell you. I'm not going to tell you. Going to leave that one. But we're going to do something very Christmassy in December as well. It's just going to be cool. We've got loads of stuff going on. So it's not Robert Pattinson who's on this week, but I'll definitely aim for him, Cheryl. I think he'd want a little bit of money to do it, to come on and be a guest. But yeah, I would definitely love to sort that out. And Nicholas says, no snake oil in this community. Exactly. There's a lot of snake oil in this freaking industry. But no, not in the Acts on This community. No way, Jose. I wouldn't have been around 11 years. 11 years, you know. 11 freaking years, Acts on This.tv. It's flown by, though. It's gone by really, really, really quick. I'm going to play you this trailer from Ruth, and we're going to end it there because it is exactly 10 o'clock. But thank you for listening to me waffle on tonight. Hopefully you found that useful. We are all together in this. We've all got each other's backs. I'm super proud of everyone who's in this community because you are all the kindest people I've met in the industry. I see you all looking out for each other. Everyone's super supportive. If anybody's got any questions about their career, come and join the Acts on This Facebook group as well at facebook.com/groups/Acts on This TV. If you're not a member of the website yet, we've got a Facebook group. We've got a private community over on the website for when you are a premium member. Like I said, we do the mastermind calls every week. We do a rapid fire Friday Q&A every other week. We have a monthly networking event. Just so much stuff and so much support that will get you through your acting career, life, and lockdown. Feeds into all parts of your life, doesn't it? Basically, when you're surrounded by great people. So do come and join. But actonthis.tv/save before midnight tonight to get in at the best price. Right, let's have a look. Any more in the comments before we call it a night? Looks like we are all good. Chris says his implant is going in before lockdown. Do you mean tooth? Because that's lucky because my teeth are getting done on Wednesday and lockdown's coming in on Thursday. I'm getting 3 crowns put on Wednesday, Chris. So I'm with you on that. Definitely. Thank you, Lindsay. Cheers for being here. And yeah, just thanks for everybody for watching. So I will finish up on this trailer, and I would love to see you on Thursday night, 7:30. I'll be sending Zoom links out for all Acts on This.tv members on Thursday. As usual, you get your two reminders on Thursday with your Zoom link. We're going to have a great chat with Ruth. She's just awesome. She's just like a really proper actors director as well. She's got a background in theatre, so like really knows how to work with actors. And it's just lovely. Just really, really dead normal, dead ordinary, proper good laugh, great banter. So I'll see you there. And yeah, come and join us. If you're not a member, come join us. actonthis.tv/save. Until next time, lots of love to you all. Don't worry about lockdown. It's all going to be fine. And I'll see you Thursday night. Bye for now. Actors, I am back with yet another treat for you. I want to invite you to another incredible actonthis.tv live mastermind session. This time it's taking place on Thursday, the 5th of November at 7:30 p.m. with one of my favourite directors on the planet. We met a couple of years ago shooting Doctors. She's since gone on to direct Holby City. Casualty is currently directing Emmerdale. It's Ruth Carney. Ruth, thanks so much for doing this. What are we going to be covering on Thursday?
So I'd like to talk about shooting under COVID conditions and what that's like for a director and an actor, because I've just done Casualty. And also I'm here to kind of chat about what it's like to be a day player and a guest on these shows. And if anybody wants to ask any questions about that, I'm up for answering that. And also would love to talk about theatre. You know, I directed 2 earlier in the year because that's my passion too. And that's kind of where I've come from. And now I'm in TV.
Well, there you go. We're covering it all, theatre and TV on this one. It's going to be a bit of a first, really. We don't normally cover a lot of theatre, Ruth, so it'll be interesting to talk about that. If you guys want to get involved with this, you want to literally get the opportunity to jump on camera, have a little one-to-one time with Ruth, talk about anything you like in your career, you know, anything to do with your acting career, auditioning, getting further ultimately in your career faster, get yourself over to actonthis.tv/live for full details of how you can take part. And Ruth, everyone gets asked this question on these trailers. Why don't actors want to miss this one?
Well, there are no live fireworks, Ross. So the only place there are going to be fireworks is here with me and you. It'll be like pyrotechnics in theatre and the best rocket you've ever seen.
Absolutely. Put a rocket up your career. It's going to be fire. actonthis.tv/live. We'll see you there.